Hi, I'm Lynn, and I thought it was about time I introduced myself. I'm 71 and I love gardening. 10 years ago, I moved in with my bachelor son, and this was his yard. He's lucky I love to do landscaping work. That's Shadow, our hole digger. We live next to a green belt that is known as an erosion area. So to stop his yard from going into the green belt, I had to take out the grass, build paths, gardens, and I knew I needed a fire pit and at least one water fountain for the birds. So as I progressed, that's the little fountain I built, and started doing my garden area and made a little path, mulched to absorb some of the rain that we get, and started planting. Most of the plants I get on clearance sale, and they look half dead, so it takes them a couple of years to really catch hold. But as you can see, I had a faithful companion, Shadow. And at first I wanted meandering paths, and Chandra said no, he wanted a straight path. And at the time I wasn't too concerned about a straight path, except that I don't do straight. So this was one of our first gatherings. I made the bird fountain, and I got a fire pit built. And as you can see, there's a lot of grass that had to be torn out. And that's my work shed. Well, one of the first things I did after doing the fire pit and the fountain was to do a patio, and I wanted a small patio. Paver Patio is what we go with out here because it's so wet that wood just rots. Anyway, I had to build a 3-foot retaining wall and fill in with gravel because the backyard slopes by 3 feet. And also, I had to build boxes around our septic outlets and put some sort of a top on it. After all was leveled, I put down the weed barrier and sand and re-leveled, and voila, you get a paver patio. But then I had to totally rebuild the fire pit and take it apart. And the second fire pit that I bought, or that I built, was constructed so that air would go in it better. And as you can see from the swings that we had, that was an afterthought as well. And my son wanted to extend the patio. So the patio is now 30 by 35 feet. I was only going to go out 10. But our neighbor was very gracious and built the swings, the bench swing set. And I helped him. I was his gopher and stainer. Then we had to build a retaining wall on the other side of the patio because it goes uphill, and we had to stop the dirt from going onto the patio. And when I say we, I'm saying the neighbor and I. I did most of the building. He did the leveling and the adhesive in between the blocks. But as you can see, it is nice when the family gets together. and thinking I was done, aha, no. At the end of the straight path, he wanted a fountain.
As usual, I forgot to take the before pictures. Anyway, this is what I have to construct in the backyard. I have to do a retaining wall because it has to hold the soil back because that side is so much lower, so that I can put in a formal fountain for my son. Anyway, and it has to have big paver things underneath it because eventually he's going to get a heavy duty fountain or bird bath sprouting fountain, whatever. Anyway, so this is the mess that it looks like this morning. It's already been raised considerably. I've started doing steps going down. So that's the construction phase.
This was a monstrous undertaking, but I eventually got it done. I had to call my neighbor Sean once again to come to my assistance to get it level after taking it apart 3 times. I had to put down these big supports in case my son gets a cement bird bath. The one that is in there now is fiberglass, and it sits upon a flower pot to bring it up to a nice height. I constructed the surround of the fountain itself out of Allen block, which are made specifically for fountains, and they're interlocking, so you don't need to fill in with an adhesive or cement, and you can take them apart periodically. I have a filter in the fountain, so I do have to take them apart every once in a while to get at the electrical connections, which are down between the Rubbermaid portion and the cement portion. And you can pretty much buy the Rubbermaid ones in any size you want. But those are the Allen blocks that I had to take apart 3 times. And then I called Sean and I said, help, I need to be level. Now this yellow barrel holds my watering system for out there. A hose runs from the main house through PVC pipe that's buried in the ground, deep enough so it isn't a concern with freezing. And it runs to that yellow barrel, and my hose for the backyard comes off of that. And as I was doing this project, I also was planting flowers. So a lot of the things came together at the same time. And there's always mulching to do. But now the plants are large enough this year so that they are totally amazing. This is the finished project. Or is a garden ever finished? That's probably my son telling me what to do next.